Okay, now I want to move on to something that happened recently, just a few days after your policy speech on Wednesday, and something everybody thought would be just a minor issue has become a major issue, and that is your plan for cash coupons to encourage people to buy energy-saving light bulbs. Now, it's now since been revealed, or it's come out, that your son's father-in-law owns a light bulb business and therefore will benefit from this scheme. It's become a big issue. Do you blame people in Hong Kong for being suspicious of this government?
Well, I think it's important for us, if questions are asked and we're able to answer them, and there is no foul play and there's no iniquities involved. In this case, Mr. Mok, who's father of my daughter-in-law, sells electrical goods, and everyone knows about that. He sells both these compact fluorescent lamps and as well as the incandescent light bulbs. And during the preparation of the policy address, we keep it a strictly confidential exercise. Nobody outside the circle knew anything about it, least of all Mr. Mok. So he knew nothing about it until, of course, I announced in Legislative Council. The idea came from Edward Yao, our Secretary for Environment, quite rightly so. Whole idea is looking at the issue from the point of view of public interest. What is the public advantage in this? And it has been pointed out to me that many advanced economies, in fact, are abolishing the use of incandescent.
I don't think anybody argues with the idea itself, Mr. Chief Executive. The fact is people are suspicious. Why do you think they're suspicious?
Well, people in Hong Kong must be suspicious. Everyone would be. Do you think any society that would trust the leaders just implicitly? And there are also people who want to find fault with it, with their leaders. Your political
foes?
Well, I do not mean political foes, anyone. And in fact, any newspaper, for instance, we want to make sure that there's no, as they said, corruption, foul play involved.
And are we oversensitive about this?
Well, in Hong Kong, we are a very open society. We do ask questions. I think it would be the responsibility of the person concerned, the people concerned, to explain what it's all about, and there is nothing unjust.
So you don't mind that this has come up and you're under suspicion?
Well, the point is, Michael, to tell you honestly, I do not mind, but my family suffers a lot as a result. But that's
how did they suffer?
Well, suddenly you find yourself in a newspaper, implicated that you think you can make a profit out of a public policy. That hurts a lot.
Have they called you to express their unhappiness?
Well, I don't. Mr. Mok is a very decent person. I personally feel exceedingly embarrassed. I think he and his family, including my son and my daughter-in-law, suffered enormously over the last day.
Okay, well, we'll leave it there. And now I just want to ask you one more question before we go to a break.
Yes, of course, you have to understand, as I said, Mr. Mok sells both incandescent lights and the fluorescent lamp. He may able, as a result of this policy, at the end of the day, sell more the compact lamps, but he is going to lose his business.
Sure, of course. So you could see it that way. Yes, right. Now, I just wanted to ask you, before the commercial break, I just want to ask you one question. You talked of big markets and big market, small government in your speech, yet you won't interfere with property prices. You don't want to interfere with property prices. But does that mean you agree with the preposterous prices some developers are demanding for luxury apartments? It's like monopoly money.
Well, that's not for me to say as far as how transactions are being held and what sort of money being changing hands, provided it's all legally conducted.
But you must think it's too much.
You must give me a chance to answer the questions, okay? I think it's excessive, if I say so. Totally. To me, this is obscene in a way. The sudden rise in the pricing of transaction of one or two penthouses in a new development. But what is important from a chief executive point of view and from an administration point of view is whether it will impact on the pricing of the mass market. And for that reason, we are watching and monitoring the market quite carefully. There are, of course, we're looking at what we call the contagion effect, whether it will affect the properties lower down. The fact remains that the pricing at the moment for most residential lots are quite reasonable. Looking at historically, looking at people's how people are able to afford them, and looking at the price level compared with the peak level, say in the last quarter of 1997, and particularly availability of of domestic dwellings all over Hong Kong, not necessarily the only place in Conduit Road. So I'm concerned, and therefore I'm monitoring the system closely. And of course, we have policy instruments to deal with that, but we have to be very, very careful. Okay. I must remind myself there are 1.2 million homeowners in Hong Kong who will be very unhappy and very angry if they feel that because of a government policy, the value of the property immediately falls.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. More of Newsline in just a moment. Please don't go away.